As Julia said, my name's Neil Steinkamp. Some of you may know me as Pastor Andrea's partner, Link and Caden's dad, Kay's apprentice at the grill, chair of the finance committee, or just that guy in the back pew. Kay's sermon reminded us to just ask, and I have a question, and that question is, what are we doing? And I want to invite all of you to just say that with me one time. What are we doing? Thank you. I share that question. Now, I have to tell you, it's been increasingly frequent that even in everyday situations, Andrea will look at me and say, "Why do you always look so confused?" She's not here, so I've come to appreciate that my resting face is one that expresses to other humans a sense of confusion. Perhaps this is, I didn't think any of this was going to be funny for what it's worth. Perhaps this is a function of the creases and wrinkles the boys have started pointing out. Perhaps it's the intellectual, emotional, and spiritual fatigue that I can't seem to escape. But also, friends, I am confused. For me, confusion is simply a state of curiosity. It's the force that propels me forward. It draws me into community, it helps me to listen, and it fills me with hope and wonder. I must admit, my time at St. Paul and St. Andrew has been filled with confusion. I was introduced to this church during the pandemic. The first worship service I attended was sitting on a folding chair in West End Avenue. As I sat there wondering which of the trucks passing by would be the last thing I saw on this earth, I thought, what are we doing? As I opened the bulletins and I saw hymns amended with new verses annotated with K. Carpin 2025, I wondered, what are we doing? When I found myself walking through Central Park holding a 10-foot wooden cross made of 4x4 timber, I asked myself, what are we doing? Standing at dueling grills, sweltering in the summer heat, getting my eyebrows singed, I've often wondered, what are we doing? And honestly, I was pretty confused when Kay asked me to offer a few words today. At this point, I'm sure all of you are listening to me, asking yourself, what are we doing? Where is this going? Y'all have introduced me to so many new and wonderful things, and I'm grateful that in those moments of confusion, you all were patient and confident because you knew exactly what you were doing. These days, of course, I'm confused by and curious about a great many things. I'm routinely learning about global, national, and local events and asking myself, what are we doing? Sometimes I'm able to learn that things that make it less confusing, and sometimes I learn that what's happening is intentional and by design, and this can also present new pathways and opportunities for action and involvement, and sometimes I just need to change how I ask the question and ask myself, what are we doing? Since January of this year, I've served as chair of the finance committee for the church. As you can imagine, I had a lot of questions. Chief among them was, what are we doing? In classic SPSA style, Kay, Lee, Andrea, Akamo, Aurora, Sally, Brent, Christopher, Shirley, Nancy, Ken, Joe, Bruce, Karen, Robin, Cynthia, Charles, Jennifer, Tyler, and so many others have been patiently helping me to learn about what we are doing and what is really happening at St. Paul and St. Andrew. So I wanted to take a moment to share with you some of the things I've learned about what we are doing. First, as you know, and as Kay mentioned during his sermon, we're doing absolutely extraordinary work for and with our community. In addition to worship services and all that goes into them, preparation, music, planning, printing, audio, visual, we're doing Miracle Mondays, Connect and Care, homework help, Faith and Fun Fridays, youth, young adult campus ministries, fellowship, pastoral care, community cookouts, interfaith ministries, vacation Bible school, and everything you see on pages 11 and 12 of your bulletin, which I encourage you to take a look at. Where does this happen? For the most part, that happens here, of course, but also in our community and in virtual settings. As we are all keenly aware, our church home, this building, needs care. In addition to the work we're doing on the roof, we spend about $200,000 every year in maintenance activities around the church. Some of this is required by law and regulation. Some of it is just regular maintenance that has to be done for a historic church in New York City that's well over 100 years old. And most years, we don't have the funding to complete all of the work that needs to be done at the church. Already for next year, we have over $160,000 of projects that we already know needs to be done. Who does this work? Well, we all know these people, or if you don't, you should. Try to get to know them. In addition to the remarkable leadership of the pastors here, there's a staff of people that are passionately dedicated to what St. Paul and St. Andrew is doing. They know exactly what we are doing because they are doing it every day. Approximately 55% of our annual budget goes to personnel costs because it's the people that make all of this happen. In addition to paid staff, there's a community of volunteers, many of you who are passionately committed to the work of St. Paul and St. Andrew. So is that all? No, of course not. There are utilities, insurance, professional fees, and all of the expenses that go into the support necessary for the activities and ministries that I mentioned earlier. And as you would expect, expenses, as they always do, they increase. Despite our efforts to find opportunity to reduce the expenses, which we have over the course of this past year, we found some opportunities to reduce expenses. We expect that expenses will go up 3 to 5% pretty much every year, as they should, as you all experience in your everyday lives, at the grocery store, with our rent, other things in your day-to-day life. The cost of things increase, and expenses at the church are no exception. So where does the money come from for all of this? Yes, it costs money to do all of this. I know, right? Shocking. St. Paul and St. Andrew operates with an annual budget of around $1.5 million. However, 2/3 of this, so approximately $1 million, is earned when other organizations use our space. Regular programs that happen here, concerts, rehearsals, events, and other activities. Only about 1/3 of our annual operating budget is from congregational giving and grants. This presents risks and opportunities for us. The risk is that with so much of the amazing work that's being done here, it's being funded from income we earn through space use. So if we're not able to sustain that space use, then we aren't able to do the work that we're doing. The opportunity is that your giving actually becomes a force multiplier. In addition to going to directly fund the incredible work that's happening in this community, it helps us to multiply that giving by effectively using our space and managing that space. Another way to think of that is that for every dollar of giving, we're generating about $2 in space rental income to amplify the work of this community. That's a pretty great return on investment right off the bat. Right now, the Finance Committee is entering a special liturgical season for us, a season that we call budget season. We're all prayerfully entering budget season. It's a time to reflect on this year, to plan for next year, and it's still early for us in this process, but we're thinking about a variety of things. We know that our expenses are going to increase next year 3 to 5%. We already know that. We already have a sight line on these expenses. We know that they're going to increase. So this year we're expecting to be about break even, which we should be. That's an objective. In order for us to continue to sustain the work that we're doing here right now, just to keep doing the work that we're already doing, we would need to increase our revenue about 3 to 5% just to cover the expenses that are going to increase next year. But in addition to that, of course, there's so many things that we could do if there was additional funding to do that, right? People who could help us better manage our space, people who could help with our rental relationships, streamline and amplify that process. We could invest in attire for all of the staff and volunteers so that we have consistent ways of demonstrating to our visitors and volunteers here and to help identify those people in the building. We can invest in innovative tools and technology to make giving easier, right? Things like kiosks or touch-to-give technology that a lot of other churches are using now. We can invest in signage for our programs and spaces to ensure visitors are aware of the different programming that happens here. We can invest in staff and services to help us identify new grant opportunities. and additional programming opportunities to help connect with our community and to help us all learn and grow. And there's things that we can do, of course, that don't require money, right? Involvement in St. Paul and St. Andrew committees, the best of which is the Finance Committee. Helping us create that's actually for Charles. He's going to appreciate that later. Helping us create documentation, right? Processes and policies and internal controls, volunteering for program activities, helping to bake food or transportation and deliveries, and helping us to care for the building in different ways. For the people on YouTube right now, I want to just pause for a second. Everyone here in the sanctuary is trying to figure out the QR code for giving. I know you can't see that, but that's what's happening, and we need you too. In all seriousness, what are we doing, right? We're an inspiration. When news came out last week that we raised $4 million to support the Capitol campaign, I had people contact me from other churches asking, how are you doing that? That's amazing. We're a light to this community. Organizations and churches come to us to observe what we're doing here. What's happening at St. Paul and St. Andrew is truly extraordinary, and that happens because of all of you. I'm here to tell you that we need your help to sustain it, and we need your help to amplify it. Our expenses are going up a little bit every year. If our giving stays the same, our expenses will outpace our revenue. If you're inspired by the ways we can amplify our ministry, help. Help us with your resources and your time. Reach out to me. You can find me in the back pew most Sundays, or reach out to any of our pastors. Share your ideas, get involved, but participate. Help us take action. There's a tremendous expertise in this community, and there are lots of ways to structure your involvement that will work with your schedules and amplify your giving. Just ask. So when I ask myself, what are we doing? The answer is very clear to me. We're building something extraordinary together, something that lights the way for others, transforms lives in our community every single day. And now I'm asking you to join me in answering a new question. What are we going to do to keep this light burning bright? Thank you.